Hi, everybody, it's Josh with Talk About Trek, and let's talk about Trek. Star Trek Voyager, number 6, The Murdered Sun, by Christie Golden. This is the first Trek book by this author, and I have to say that she has done a bang-up job. I enjoyed this one quite a bit. I feel that kind of maybe getting out of the period now where they don't know so much about the characters as an author, and they're able to kind of write with a little bit more knowledge about who these characters are. And I think that she's able to do that here. So this was a lot of fun, and let's just dive right into the book here and see what we've got. So from the cover, it tells us a race of alien conquerors won't release the starship Voyager without a fight. Okay? Now, from the back, let's see what they got there. When sensors indicate a possible wormhole nearby, Captain Janeway is eager to investigate, hoping to find a shortcut back to the Federation, of course. Instead, she discovers a solar system being systematically pillaged by the warlike Akirians. The last thing Janeway wants is to get caught up in someone else's war, but to check out the wormhole and to protect the innocent inhabitants of Varuna 4, she has no choice but to take on the Akirians. But who knows what unexpected dangers lurk beneath the crimson glow of the murdered sun. Dun-dun-dun. Alright, well, that doesn't give away very much, and in fact, it is not even kind of not quite the story at all, but that's good. The less you get from the back when you read it, the better, because you want to be, you want to go into the thing fresh. So, what else can we tell you about the book? The book was published here in a year. We'll find that year. 1996, of course. Let's see what we got. This book, My First Flight Among the Stars, is dedicated to my friend and colleague, Roger McBride Allen, who has, in the time that I have known him, made me laugh, think, and dare to fly. Thanks, Raj. Well, that's nice. Anyway, again, I think she did a great job with it. She says here that she had been a fan. Of course, I'm reading now from the book about Star Trek books. She'd been a fan since the 5th grade. And when she finally got the chance to write Star Trek, she was very excited to do so. And she enjoyed writing Paris and Chakotay, which I guess she comments on maybe doing further on down the line, but they are definitely featured in this novel, I would say. And she goes on to say that there was a line in here that Chakotay says, she didn't remember the exact line, but it's something about how you can understand how the moon is a hunk of rock caught in the Earth's orbit, but yet still it can be beautiful and magical. And that's kind of paraphrasing what they say in the book, but again, it was actually a very, very well done scene, I think. Actually, a lot of the stuff with Chakotay and, well, I guess we won't get into it too much, but I think that by her being able to focus on Paris and Chakotay, she was able to tell, kind of get deeper into their stories, and it did a good job of it. So I had a good time with the book, and if you're looking for a fun little Voyager adventure to jump into, I would say jump into this one. It's got a mysterious black hole. It's got a mysterious helmeted race. It's got dragon-like people. And a murdered sun. So, I mean, again, just a lot of fun sci-fi things and some interesting things thrown in along the way. And, overcoming prejudice, connecting with people of other cultures that are, similar to yours. So, very fun, very good book. Read The Murdered Sun if you're looking for a Voyager adventure. So, but now let's get into what actually went down in this book. So, as usual, you got your typical issue with kind of how every Voyager starts. They detect something. They ask Neelix, what should we do? And Neelix says, maybe you should just go the other way. And Janeway says, no, we're going to go in there. But that's not exactly how it happened here. But again, they did have the kind of the same similar situation where against Neelix's advice, they did go into the system, but they were able to do so much good in doing so, it was definitely going to be worthwhile. So I told myself I was going to take better notes, and oh my gosh, it's falling apart here. Look at this, look. The notes, they started out so nice. Here. Oh, here. Look at that, nice. And then they just became scattered in madness. Look at that. Okay, so. But, again, the story starts with Tuvok finding an interesting signal. And they couldn't find exactly what it was, but, or he couldn't say exactly what it was, but she could tell by the tone of his voice that he was somewhat excited for this. So it got her very excited. So they go to check out what it is, and they get... Well, as they get closer, of course, they come across these warning buoys, basically saying, you've entered a Kyrian space, turn back now or be destroyed. They bring Neelix up and, ask Neelix, what do you think? What should we do? And he says, well, the Kyrians are a very dangerous sort, and you should probably just turn back now. They got some, Verteron particles or something when they were scanning before, so there's a possibility of a wormhole over there. And with that possibility, Janeway's willing to take on the risk, and they ignore Neelix, and they ignore the buoys, and they head on into the system. So you have a nice little conference scene here, where they kind of each discuss, what they're seeing as they're coming into this system. And basically, as they come into the system, they see the star of the system appears to be much, much, much older than it should be. And because the reason for that is because the giant black hole near the star is sucking out all of the star's energy. And that's kind of draining everything from the star and is advancing its life, and it's kind of in the end of its life now. So, and then there is a planet in this system too. And let's see, well, I'm probably going to tell some of this out of order, but that's fine. When they get into the system, either before or after, when they're contacted by the planet, they notice a ship escaping from the black hole. And right on the tails of that ship is two other ships, these larger warships, and the one that's coming out is like a smaller kind of scout ship. So they see, obviously, that this guy's outgunned and outmanned, so they want to help. So they try to step in and help, just by getting in the way, but they're not able to do so, and the scout ship is destroyed. They then turn their weapons on the Voyager. Again, Janeway is trying to be peaceful, trying to avoid conflict with them, but they are able to turn their very... it's something that the Voyager didn't expect. They have a gravitron weapon, where they fire these pods at the ship. The pods attach and open up the shields, and through the hole in the shields, they blast this gravity weapon, which does significant damage to the ship, but they are able to take out one of the ship's systems and send the other one limping away, basically. So, but then they have to repair the damage to their ship, and because of the weapon, basically there's a lot of injury to it as well. Everybody's kind of tossed around by the gravitron weapon, so just some fun and interesting scenes here in the beginning. You get a little bit of action, you get a little bit of mystery, you get a little bit of Neelix, you get a little bit of the Doctor, so some good stuff there in the beginning. Now, after that happens, now they're contacted by the planet. And they're contacted by the Viha, which is like the leader of the planet, the speaker, Viha Nada. And this is when they get their first look at the Varunians. And they are a kind of like a dragon-like people. With kind of I was kind of picturing maybe like a Gila monster type of head kind of thing. But then they do have almost like a furry pelt body, and they have a long tail. So maybe like kind of like a half ape, half raptor. I'm not really sure, but they sound awesome, and I should have read the description again, but just, like dinosaur people with some fur. Very cool. Tom Paris is, at first, very repulsed. He's put off by these people. He thinks they look like kind of just basically lizards, and he has like an aversion to lizards or something. So he's kind of put off by this, and Janeway can even kind of notice this as well. So So anyway, the Viha reaches out to the Voyager saying, "Oh, I see what you've done. I hope that you're here to help us." And then that's when you kind of get the story from their point of view. They end up beaming down to the planet and meeting with the Viha and seeing the situation firsthand. And basically, the planet has been dying, or the sun has been dying, for something like the past 300 years. So the planet has been dying as well for that time. So they're given the tour of this dying planet and just shown like all the terrible effects of the sun dying and everything that's happening. And then they're given a little bit more information as well, which kind of surprises them, is that well, first off, I should explain that these people are very similar to Chakotay's people in that they tell their stories, and that's how the lore is passed on from generation to generation by these storytellers. It's not written or preserved any other way. So through these stories from the past, they were able to kind of figure out that they had a different past, and they've kind of went more primitive. So they found these ships that they had in the past, and they're unearthing them and kind of figuring them out and getting them to run so they can start to fight back against the Akirians, and most important, save their people. Their people have now started to be taken away and used as slaves inside the black hole to accomplish something, which isn't explained yet at this point. So, but I digress. Anyway, so now you have Chakotay kind of working very closely with the Vihanata to try to kind of maybe help her figure out more from her past and her stories about their previous culture that can help them now and maybe help them save their planet, or at least escape their planet, and at least rescue their people. So now Janeway, of course, is still very eager to get into this black hole and see if there is indeed some kind of wormhole in there. And then it's at this point in the story they do give you a little chapter where they show you, not even a chapter, but just a short bit showing you the Akirians, where you meet their supreme kind of war leader Linnaeus and the first warrior Garai. And you can kind of see that there's a little bit of a discord between them. You don't get very much information, but what you can tell is that there is, well, basically there is a huge conspiracy going on within their culture, where the military end of it is telling a lie to the leadership side so that they can keep control and kind of keep control of this power that they have within this black hole. Now, what did they find in this black hole? An ancient destroyed civilization, and then they basically reverse engineered their technology, and that's how they came up with their weapons and their advanced systems and kind of built their empire from there. But in doing so now, they've had to start using slave labor. So they've taken the Varunians and have started using Varunian slaves to mine this planet of its technological resources. So that's what they have to stop. So they come up with a plan. Of course, Janeway can't directly interfere, but she can at least escort the other ships into the black hole using their shields, kind of within their shields. So that's the plan they come up with. And Tom Paris meets with all the different Varunian pilots to kind of learn or train them as much as he can and learn from them what he can and work with them to make this work. So, and that's where kind of the book shifts focus to Chakotay and Paris and less kind of everybody else. And it kind of shifts back and forth between Chakotay and Vihanata and her, basically her and him kind of going back over the old stories and learning more. And then with Chakotay working with, oh gosh, did I save her name? Let's look at the memory beta. Well, Chakotay meets up, and of course, I said before, he's at first feeling very, he's kind of put off by these dragon people, right? But then as he's working with them, and he meets with, anyway, a certain pilot, a female of the species, and they become close, they become friends, and his views kind of change throughout the novel. So that's one of the fun parts of it, kind of seeing his his change. And it's a complete change to where he's kind of defending them at the end too to some other people. Uh, but back to Chakotay. Chakotay and Vihanana have gone over some of their stories, and she's decided to take him to their basically their holy place, their holiest place. And when they get there and they have a look at it, Chakotay has a feeling that it's more than just a holy place. And as they get closer and kind of look around, they're able to see a control panel there, which they activate, and they find that this is not just an old temple, but an actual colony ship. And then they kind of go over the old stories again, and then they can kind of see like the colony ship, and the 6 ships that came with it were sent from their original planet, years and years and years ago. But then when they got there, they just kind of went primitive at that point. So, but now they do have this colony ship, and they're working to see if they can turn it on, see what they can do. And you have some fun little scenes there too, with Chakotay and her in there, kind of working through the ship, trying to figure things out. And they're able to figure some things out and kind of move the story forward a little bit there. Okay, so anyway, now they're going into the black hole, right? They're going into the black hole. They need to save the slaves there, and they need to see if there is indeed a wormhole, a shortcut, back home. So they get in there, and then once they get in there, the other 2 ships, the Akirians, are now kind of back on the scene. One of the first ships, the Liberty or whatever, is still damaged and can't do anything. So they send Garai in. And again, Linnaeus is kind of like the crazier one, and Garai seems to be the more sensible one. So he's the one that follows in after Voyager and the ships. So you have some fun scenes here where you get Tom Paris and the Varunians rescuing their brethren down on the planet, and they get a nice, kind of works out very well. They get in, get out, get everyone rescued, get everyone back to the shuttles, get up and escape. Unfortunately, after looking around, there's no wormhole here for them, so there's not going to be any shortcut home this way. But they do decide that they must close the black hole, because if it continues, it will keep draining the sun, and then the Varunian people will have less and less time. But if they can close it, that's going to at least give them a little bit of breathing room, maybe make it so they could at least escape their dying planet before it's too late. So Garai approaches them, and this is where basically she convinces him that, obviously it's the right thing to do. We're going to go destroy this thing. You need to do the right thing and go get all your scientists off of the planet down there, because the black hole is going to be closed. And basically that's what he does. He goes and does that because he is the more sensible of the Akirians. Then this Linnaeus comes in a rage, and basically is going to destroy the black hole and destroy everybody inside of it, just because he's so angry about everything. So this guy is just basically a jerk the whole time. But the Voyager with the shuttlecrafts and the small ships are able to escape, thanks to a little bit of help and kind of a little boost from Garai to get out, and they all escape the black hole just in time before it's destroyed by Linnaeus on the inside. So after they escape, now they have to kind of work things out, obviously, right? So what's going to happen from here? Luckily, Harry Kim has been working diligently and has went through the whole database of the ship that they fought earlier, and has put together the real true story of what happened with the Akirians and the Varunians. So they decide that they have to get everyone together before they kind of reveal the big truth. So they schedule a meeting with the Empress Riva of the Akirians, and they bring her aboard Voyager, they bring Vihanata aboard Voyager, they all go to the holodeck together, and they agree to be told this story that they figured out. So right at the end, you kind of get the whole exposition of what really happened, and it was that both the Akirians and the Varunians started out as the same race. They were called the Krisak or something like that. And the Krisak's planet's sun was dying. So they sent out 3 colony ships. They sent one to Varuna, one to Akira, and then another one went into the concavity, the black hole, and disappeared. So they don't know what happened to that one. So, but the Akirians, their planet was a more desert-like planet, so they kind of evolved a different way. And the Varunians, they landed on like a lush jungle planet, so they got rid of their technology and they evolved a different way as well. So over all these years, their species kind of separated, and then the Akirians discovered the black hole, discovered the planet, and kind of things went from there. So, but now that everybody knows the truth, the Varunians and the Akirians can all work together to, get everybody off of the planet. I think that what happened before was they had something like 25 years before the planet was uninhabitable. Now that they closed that wormhole, they've given themselves maybe about 100 years, so they have plenty of time to sort things out, evacuate, work with the Akirians. Happy ending all around. So, I think I've covered it fairly well there, actually. I'm sure I've missed a million things, but all in all, that's the story. And that's what you get. So, but that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that one quite a bit. It was nice getting to see more focus. Again, earlier in these novels, you're not getting so much character focus because they don't know so much about the characters. But now you can kind of get in a little bit more. So there was some fun stuff that they did here. And just some fun, a good mix of maybe some mystery, some action, some laughs in there definitely. And I had a good time with it. So I am going to continue on reading these Voyager. Oh, look at this. I am now 20 minutes into this thing here. I just now noticed I never changed this. And it says I was reading The Death of Princes. That's not what I'm reading. Oh, Lord. Can you believe I did that, everyone? Listen, I'm not going to start the video over. That would be madness. So, we're just going to change it now. Oh, my goodness. And I can't even find it. Well, anyway, the book was really good. And I would recommend that you read it. And as I was saying, the book is called The Murdered Son, as you can see right there. It's not the... Anyway, we don't need to worry about that. I had the right picture up, at least, if nothing else. We're going to continue on reading Star Trek Voyager novels. Now I have this one, which looks absolutely brand new. Ghost of a Chance by Mark A. Garland and Charles G. McGraw. Very fine condition book, which I am sure to completely wreck in the next week. But that's fine because it's my book, and I'm going to enjoy it. So, that's going to be it for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Always fun to sit down and talk about some Trek with anyone that's interested and willing to listen. So, live long and prosper, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Good night.